Hello, here's a roundup of what I think is going to be happening this week. And the most important thing, probably, is not something I've observed. It comes from a friend of mine, George of Ireland. And he, like me, has spent a lot of time in Moscow, though bizarrely, every time we were there at the same time, we never managed to meet, which is extraordinary, though we were often literally on the same road. He thinks that there's been so much noise about so many false flags about Russia claiming that Ukraine was fueling laboratories with weapons of mass destruction, with poison gas, with all this sort of rubbish, that he strongly suspects there will be a gas attack or a poison attack at some point, that this will be the first attack by Putin. And of course, we know that Putin has got these weapons because he's discharged them in Syria. Here in the UK, what have we got coming up? We've got a week of chaos. The Johnson investigation, that's Boris's investigation, gets underway, and there's going to be a committee meeting on Wednesday. And the attempts to stop this have been monumental. Boris had his own lawyer. Nadine Dorris has been trying her hardest to stop it. The Daily Mail has been trying its hardest to stop it. But in the end, I think it will go ahead. And more than that, Liz Truss said during the election campaign, her friend, that she would halt this investigation. But I think if she tried to put through any legislation at the moment to that effect, she would lose. So I don't think she's going to do that. This investigation will go ahead, and Boris may well find that he loses his seat. So there will be no rescue for Liz Truss from Boris. That, I think, is certain. In the meantime, we're going to have, it's a crazy time because we couldn't have anticipated the Queen's death. We couldn't have anticipated Kwasi Kwarteng's kamikaze attack. That's what Alistair Campbell calls it, I think, or his Kwasi's suicide note. And we certainly couldn't have anticipated the level of chaos which is about to descend on the House of Commons. On Tuesday, the Commons is back in office. And on that day, there's a Treasury Committee meeting. No, actually, I think it's on Wednesday. There's a Treasury Committee meeting on Wednesday, and there'll be a second reading of the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill. So we'll see how that goes. That's the one positive bit of activity in the government's programme. And it's not the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill which is the positive. That, I think, is the negative, but that's the leftover from all the chaos before. The positive bit is the industrious activity of Chris Heaton-Harris and the friendships that he has already forged across the border with Ireland. And I wish him well. And I hope that the twits who are in power in number 10 and number 11 don't derail that process, but they could just simply by a glance. Liz Truss is like Medusa walking. And on Tuesday, I think there's also... No, on Wednesday, yes, Wednesday is the big day. Wednesday is the big day, because on Wednesday, there's going to be a debate on sewage discharge. I get into such a problem with sewage, because I always think that sewage and sewerage are the same. Sewerage is the mechanism by which sewage is discharged. And in the case of the South Coast, that mechanism has sent it straight into the sea. And we must be very careful. We must be courteous and careful not to confuse the sewage discussion with Prime Minister's questions, which will also be on Wednesday. But I think it's going to be it's going to be a debate over which one is more which one is more about filth. And they're interchangeable, the sewage discussion and PMQs. Will we see in the sewage discussion, or indeed in PMQs, a show of unity, a clenching of universal conservative buttocks, or will Kwateng have done for them all? Will Kwateng, for example, will Kwateng be sitting smirking on the front bench with his hand in his pocket, fumbling, because that's clearly what he does when he doesn't know what else to do? And as for Boris Johnson, where will Johnson be? Will he be sitting next to Theresa May, just behind the front bench? And will he be wondering whether it's time to stand up and make a statement about his deliberate lie or his failure to correct an inadvertent misdirection? Either way, the committee which is looking into his behaviour in the House of Commons is likely to find against him. He knows it. We know it. They know it. And Kwasi Kwarteng probably should take his hand out of his pocket.